Hello and welcome into another Pat's Picks episode. This is episode 8, and yesterday on episode 7, we lost about $5 on $170 worth of bets. As you can see here from my graph right here, I bet 170, lost at the end of the day about $7.88. So another day of a small loss, up $62.65 on the series with $801 total bet. Losing record, but we bet a lot of plus bets, which is why that is, and we've thrown in some parlays. So one thing I'm cutting back on is the lotto pick bets that I've been doing, where it's just like parlays that are unlikely to happen. I'm just kind of burning money, to be honest. Not a smart way to play. It's fun, but it's not exactly smart because a lot of these things just don't happen together. Like a few things happen. Like for instance, we'll go over last night's. I went 3-4. Really bad luck, to be honest, too. So you're gonna see I'll go over my wins quickly. Stars over 2.5. They got it all in the first period and then didn't score after that. Rangers over 1.5. That was a joke. You could have included that with anything. Gensel over 2.5 shots. He got that in the first period. Over 5.5 Rangers Canes. The overs in game ones always hit, it feels like. And then we'll go over the losses, which we'll start with this one right here. We had Nathan MacKinnon scoring, Makar point, moneyline Dallas under 6.5. This wasn't even really much of a tease because the Colorado Avalanche's third goal was the one MacKinnon scored. So even though he scored it, the bet was already the bet was already dead. Stars moneyline 3-0 and they choke it. Both games, both these bottom ones here, this one and this one, I had Canes and Stars. Both went into the third period with a 1-goal lead, and both choked. It's very upsetting too when you bet that. You feel like, oh, my bets are doing good, and then they choke. If one of those had hit, we would have been profiting about $40-something, but they both choked. And then Svechnikov, this one down here, this one was frustrating too because he had 2 shots at the end of the second period, and he didn't get one in the third or overtime. And he was shooting, he just wasn't putting them on target. So that was pretty annoying, to be honest. So this bottom row right here, these 3, very frustrating, to be honest. Like, it should have been a positive day, but that's gambling, you know? You don't always get lucky. So tonight we have 2 games. Game 2 of Boston, Florida. Game 1 of Edmonton Canucks. And I feel like I have a pretty good idea of how these games are going to go. I've been pretty good with how I think games are going to go, which is why I'm profiting. But just some things just aren't rolling our way, like last night with the Canes and the Stars choking leads. I feel like those leads are less likely to be choked later on in the series. Game 1s in Games 2s, things are just a little fluky. But as you can see, that was only our 3rd losing day. We had 5 winning days, and when we win, 4 of them have been over 25%. When we lose, 2 of them have been under 10%. So pretty good, all things considered, relative to how gambling goes for some people. Let's talk about the Bruins Panthers, though. So Bruins go into Sunrise, Florida, take game 1. Now they're posed with can they really put Florida on the back heel and go up 2-0? And I think it's possible. I don't think it's likely. My money would be on the Panthers tonight if they weren't like minus 180. And the reason this game is really hard to bet on is because of Jeremy Swayman. He is playing out of his mind. So I hesitantly bet the over 5.5 just because I really think that tonight you're going to see the Florida Panthers pour on the shots. And that influences all 3 of these bets. So in game 1, Florida had, I want to say, 38 shots, I want to say. And it wouldn't shock me if they turn in a performance like that again. So one thing to consider is that Jeremy Swayman last game, let me just pull up the numbers real quick on my side screen here. He had about 38 saves on 39 shots. Now, I feel like the Panthers are definitely going to go over that 30 shot mark again, which is why I'm betting Sam Reinhart over 3.5 shots. He's hit this in a few consecutive games now. It was plus odds last game. Now it's minus 105, as you can see. 30 to win, 28-57. Last game, Sam Reinhart had, I want to say, 6 shots. So this line is slowly adjusting. He did have 6 shots. And it's still around even, so I think it's really worth it. On the other side, Brandon Carlo blocks. So Carlo had 4, or I think he had 3 in game 1. Hampus Lindholm had 6. And when you have a team like Florida, which is going to be up and down the ice shooting a lot, you're going to get blocks. So I really like these 2 bets more so than I like the over. But just with how many shots Florida's going to be putting on the Bruins tonight, I think it's likely that the over does hit. Now, Swayman could really play a factor into this and stop that from happening. But I think you bet on game flow, because when you're putting the puck to the net like that, it's more than likely that Swayman's probably going to let up more than one goal tonight if the game goes that way. The Bruins also could limit a lot of the shots on net if guys like Brandon Carlo get in the lanes and block some shots. So I'd expect Florida to win this game, just because it would be surprising to see them lose 2 in a row at home. That would be kind of surprising. But at the same time, the Bruins are playing very good defensive hockey, and they're very good at scoring on their opportunities they get. Last game, how many shots did they put on Bobrovsky? Let me pull that up real quick. Yeah, they scored on 4 of 28 shots. And I was telling people, I think people were overrating Bob a little bit. So I think this game has a good shot at ending 4-2, 4-3, because I think the Bruins are going to score on the Panthers. It's just a matter if the Panthers can figure out Jeremy Swayman with the volume of shots they're putting on, which it wouldn't shock me if tonight they could. So these are the 3 bets I'm looking at and the ones I'm going with. You can let me know what you think about that game tonight in the comments down below. Also, before I go into the Edmonton-Vancouver preview, if you want, hit the like button if you like the videos, hit the subscribe button, follow the channel, give me your thoughts on my bets. I'm not telling you to do my bets, I'm just kind of sharing it for the discussion in the community. I hope to see some more comments. So let's talk about the Canucks and Oilers really quick. I feel good about this game in 2 different ways. One, game 1s are wacky as is. Goals are scored. Every game 1 has hit this over 5.5. I saw the over-under was 6. I said, no, I want to win. Over 5.5. I mean, there's a good chance there could be 7 or 8 goals in this game. I think that the third-string goalie, Arturs Shilos, I think that's how you pronounce it, I don't think he's ever faced a team. He may have faced them in the regular season. He had 5 regular season games, but in the playoffs, they faced Nashville. Nashville's a completely different animal than Edmonton. And this isn't me saying that Vancouver can't win this series. I'm saying in game 1, when you were first put in this arena with the Edmonton Oilers, can you stop them from scoring? And I don't think Vancouver will in game 1. I could see them developing later in the series and finding a way, but in game 1, I lean Edmonton just because of how wacky and how high scoring these game 1s have been. In a high scoring affair, I favor the Oilers over anyone in the league outside of maybe Colorado, which hindsight 2020, maybe I shouldn't have bet on Dallas yesterday because of that. Or maybe I'm influenced by that a little much betting on Edmonton here. But this Canucks team is pretty unproven. They beat a good Predators team, but not a great Predators team. This is a contender right here in the Oilers. You're going to find out a lot about the Canucks tonight, and it might not be the best thing to find out. So I like the Oilers to win, money line, and I like the over 5.5 alternate. 50 to win 35 on the Oilers to win, 50 to win 32 on the over 5.5. I probably could have found a way to combine these, but I felt like just doing straight bets just because the parlays with 2 things have been biting me lately. That being said, those are the 5 bets I have for the game straight up. I have 1 parlay, and this is, like I said, I don't think that the Florida Panthers are going to keep the Bruins off the board. I really don't. I don't think Bobrovsky, he's good, but he looks shaky in moments, and I think the Bruins are very opportunistic. I think the Bruins can chip in 2 goals tonight. The real question in that game to me is, can Florida figure out Swayman? Not can the Bruins score. I think the Bruins are probably going to pot 2 to 3. I don't have a question about that, because the Bruins want to win this game 3-1, 3-2. Florida probably should win game 2, so I think it's probably going to be a 4-2, 4-3 result for Florida. On the other hand, like I said, for all the reasons, it's really hard to see Edmonton not scoring a few goals in game 1 just because of how game 1s typically go. Penalties are being called more. You want to talk about penalties? I can go on for like 10 more minutes just talking about last night's Carolina and New York Rangers game with all the penalties called in that game. It's insane how different the refereeing is in games 5, 6, and 7 compared to 1, 2, and 3. And 4 is kind of where you start to see that change if someone's facing elimination or starting to face it. Once a team's facing elimination, basically, refereeing changes completely, and it's kind of weird. But yeah, like Svechnikov took another penalty. I'm just kind of complaining at this point. He took another penalty last night at the beginning of Carolina power play. Maybe he would have hit my shots total, and maybe Carolina would have scored another goal to win my other bet. But Svechnikov has been a frustrating player if you've watched this series for me to bet on so far. But I'm going to figure him out. I'm going to figure him out tomorrow, I swear. I think they play tomorrow. But regardless, I'm going to figure him out the next game. But hard to see Edmonton not scoring. I think the Bruins get 2 no matter what the result is. So $30 to win 30-68. 6 bets tonight. As you can see, I'll go over them really quick. So we got Bruins over 1.5, Edmonton over 2.5, parlay 30 to win 30-68. So that's 30. Then we got two $50 bets. The over, alternate 5.5, Edmonton money line. So that's $130 worth of bets total so far. 150, 170, 200. So we got $200 worth of bets. Is that right? Over 3.5 on Reinhardt, over 2.5 on Carlo Blocks, over 5.5 on the over. Okay, so let me do some math here. 40, 70, okay, 170. Yeah, we got $200 worth of bets. That's all by far the most I've done so far, as you can see from the numbers. Yeah, I bet 170. So I'm probably going to be in this 150 to 200 range every time there's 2 games going forward. So those are the bets I have for you guys tonight. Let me know if you tail them. Let me know if you fade them. I completely will admit that I am not an expert by any means. This is just me sharing my opinions. I'd love to know what you guys are betting tonight in the comments. Maybe you can put me on to some ideas or thought processes about the game that can benefit me in the future going forward with my betting. Thank you for watching. If you've gotten to this point, click like, click subscribe, and I'll see you in the next Pat's Pick video to recap hopefully another winning day and a future winning day. Have a great day, guys. Enjoy the hockey.